We're in Grantham, Pennsylvania, and we are doing our annual recording. We're doing Kings and Queens by 30 Seconds to Mars. Hey everyone, I'm back. I have a beard again. So in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the video my brother and I made, the Kings and Queens. If you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. And I'm going to be talking about how we made the video from start to finish. So first of all, it starts with the recording process. We're back in the studio on this fine Saturday morning, laying down some electric. We were the kings and queens of promise. We were the victims of ourselves. Maybe the children of a lesser God, between heaven and hell, heaven and hell. Into your We were the kings and queens of promise. We were the victims of ourselves. Maybe the children of a lesser God, between heaven and hell, heaven and... Okay. We're just listening to the track we got so far, calling it a night so far. Our voice is a little tired from screaming. I'm going to come back tomorrow and try to finish out all of David's tracks. So once we've recorded everything, then the editing, mixing, mastering process begins. Welcome to my studio. It's really just my bedroom, and I try to make it look a lot cooler than it actually is. So this is where I do all the editing, all the processing, effects, EQing, fixing of rhythms, auto-tuning, adding instrumentation. I recorded drums in here actually on the electronic drum set and used Steven Slate drums as a plug-in to make my electronic drum set sound more real. And so basically this whole process took about 3 weeks because there is a whole lot of work in the editing side to make things sound good. I use Logic for my recording software, and I record and edit on a Mac, just like Macs. So a few fun things about the editing. I am able to do any pitch correction needed. So for instance, here's my brother's voice, David.
And queens of promise, we were the victims.
So this is after it's already been pitch corrected. So now, if I come in here and I open up this little window here, I can see all of his notes that he's singing and, you know, how in pitch they are. So I can go in and I can actually change all the notes if I want to. Now, it's not going to sound as good, but sometimes it's pretty convincing. I fix some pretty good stuff. So, like, check it out right here. That's one note that he's singing right here.
For the king.
So if I want to, I can change that to a different note. Looks like he's singing an E natural. Let's move it up. What would happen if I did that?
We were the kings and queens.
Very different. Here's another fun one. Throughout the track, I use my voice, actually, a backwards whisper sound. So this section is what's called a vocoder. David is singing and it's going straight through the keyboard, producing synth-like tones. So David was actually able to play the notes that he wanted while his voice goes through that system. So this is actually my favorite section, the bridge. Which originally sounded completely different. It sounded like this. So obviously, not the same chord progression. What I did is I actually took the guitar part and tuned it differently to make different chords. Came up with this when it was all said and done. Very different chord structure. I also pitched it down lower. Fun. Once the track has been finalized, everything is edited the way I wanted. I do a final mastering where I kind of bump the volume a little bit, add a little different EQ, make the stereo a little wider. Overall, just add a lot more presence to it. Once that whole thing was done, it's time to shoot the video. So we shot the whole video in about 2 days, but really it was like a span of 12 hours. We shot it in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, right next to where David lives, and in Grantham, Pennsylvania, where Messiah College is at. So we just did David's electric guitar by that bridge over there. I've got all my camping gear because this is the easiest way to carry everything.
We're backpacking Harrisburg today.
We're outside shooting the music video, looking stupid under bridges and in other various locations, but it's for the art. So I shot everything on a Canon SL2, which is what I'm using right now. And I used 35mm lens for handheld shots. I used a 50mm lens for the really tight focus shots with the blurred background. And I used a 10mm lens for all the widescreen shots. The additional equipment that I used just a basic tripod. I used a very cheap slider that got me the really smooth, nice widescreen shots. And then I also used a very cheap Steadicam as well that allowed me to walk and get steady shots as well that I was able to later in post-production stabilize and make even smoother. When we were shooting everything, we just play the music on phones or through speakers, that way we can hear it and just play along, usually with the metronome. Why did it stop playing?
What? Stop. Oh, freaking crap.
You stepped on it?
I didn't know it was right there. Why'd you put it right under me?
So you couldn't see it in the shot. It's gotta be behind your foot.
I had no idea it was there at all.
So once that portion was done, it's time to edit once again. So I use Final Cut Pro, and you can kind of see what it basically looks like when I'm editing everything here. You can just see there's a million clips. Basically, it's as simple as I find the clip that I want, I pull it in, I line it up with the music. Then the hard part comes when I need to color correct everything. You can see I have these base corrections and a look grade over top of it to kind of enhance the overall picture, because I shot everything in a very neutral, flat picture on my camera, which means there was not a whole lot of color whenever I first shot. That way, in post-production, I could bring out the colors and the contrast just a little bit more. You get a really good popping image that looks just a little more cinematic. And so with a few basic transitions and titles, that pretty much finishes the whole project. So from there, I export it, upload it to the YouTubes. So all in all, the song and video took about a month to finish. And if you haven't done so, check out the video. There's gonna be a link in the description for the video, as well as a link at the very end of this video. Check it out. David and I had a great time doing it. Hope you enjoy it.
Darkness comes.
Sorry, I was getting.
Me too. Man, you just ruined the shot.
It makes it Arrested Development. You know what that thing they do? You know the the chicken.
Okay, yeah, but you're wasting time. You want to be done with this.
Oh.
Hold on. We were the victims of what the crap? What just happened to you?
I had nothing left. I've been singing the same high note freaking over and over for the last hour.
If you have to dip out of some notes,
My voice is dead.
if you have to dip out of some notes, just dip out. All right?
All right.